All right, how's it going? Welcome back to the Team O'Neill Rally School. I'm Wyatt. What we're going to talk about real quick, does wind chill affect your car? Temperatures here in northern New Hampshire are single digits, but around the country they're a lot colder than that. And you know, the wind's blowing a little bit and it picks up, and all of a sudden you hear on the news the wind chill's -60. What's going on with your vehicle? So we're going to pop the hood and take a look at a few things, but really we need to define what wind chill is. I've got my handy wind chill chart, which you can find online. If it's 5 degrees out here like it is right now, it's blowing 20 miles per hour. That means that it is 5 degrees, 20 miles per hour, -15 wind chill. Everything out here is still 5 degrees. The wind chill of -15 is just the rate at which something warm might cool down. So if I fell over and died right now, I would only get to 5 degrees, but I would cool down to that temperature as if it were -15 because the wind is blowing on me. Even if it's a -100 wind chill, if its actual air temperature is 0 degrees, that's the coldest that anything out here will be, including a person or whatever it might be. So hopefully that sort of defines what wind chill is. As you're driving along, you know, if it's 0 degrees and you're driving at 60 miles an hour, does that mean that you have a -33-degree wind chill? Yes. That doesn't mean that anything in your car will ever get to -33 degrees. If it's 0 degrees outside, your car will only ever be 0 degrees. But if you warm it up, it will cool back down to 0 degrees as if it were -33 degrees outside. It's the rate at which something cools down. So if that answers your question well enough, then wonderful. But we're going to pop the hood and take a look at sort of what actually is going to get affected by the cold air temperatures. You've probably seen trucks and particularly diesels that are sensitive to the cold. You'll see they block off these vents and things like that. And you've probably seen, you know, maybe your dad or your grandpa would put a piece of cardboard in front of the radiator and that sort of thing. So what's going on with that? So basically your engine has an operating temperature range where it likes to be. Can you drive when your engine is colder than that? Yes, but you have to be very gentle and easy on it until it gets up to a happy medium temperature on your gauge, or at least, you know, registers on the gauge and starts to come up a little. Be really, really gentle on the engine and don't, you know, gun it on an on-ramp or drive up a steep hill and things like that. Everybody kind of knows that now, I think. But once it's at a happy operating temperature, you can drive your car normally. The problem is with extreme cold, some cars never really get there. And that's because you've got coolant in your engine, which is basically just water mixed with, you know, ethylene glycol, so it's green. Newer cars have the pink stuff, doesn't matter, it's coolant, but it's primarily water. When you start it when it's cold, it takes a long time for that engine to warm up, and the oil and the coolant, the water that's in that engine, slowly warms up, and as it gets hot enough, your thermostat then opens and it'll circulate that coolant through the radiator so that it doesn't get too hot. The thing most people might not realize is even when the thermostat's closed, there's still a small opening in your thermostat. There's always coolant going through this radiator, mostly so pressure doesn't build up and it just keeps things moving. So you've always got a little bit of coolant going through your radiator. Well, now if you're driving this car at -10 degrees at 80 miles an hour down the highway, the wind chill on this front radiator, I could figure it out, it's something like -100 degrees Fahrenheit. So that doesn't mean it'll ever get to -100. If the air temperature is -10, it will only go as low as -10, but it will get there very quickly. Your heat inside the cabin is also run from that coolant, the water that's circulating through your engine. So if your engine's cold, you've got no heat. You've probably felt that in your car before. When you first start it up, you turn the heat on and the heat's cold. So your engine needs to warm up for you to have heat. That's why you see people blocking off the radiator partially with a piece of cardboard, or, you know, blocking off some or all of these vents and that sort of thing. It's just so that their engine actually warms up to that happy operating temperature. So all we can say is, you know, if you're interested in making your car last a long time, can you drive your car when it is very cold? Yes, but very gently, and make sure you can get it into that happy operating temperature before you drive it, you know, even normally. basically the moral of the story is if it's 5 degrees, the wind chill's -15, your car will only ever get as cold as 5 degrees. It'll get there quickly. You know, even if you're driving it at 100 miles an hour and the wind chill's -1,000, it doesn't matter. Your car's only going to be whatever the actual ambient air temperature is. So don't let, you know, the Weather Channel fool you too bad or scare you into not driving or getting on the highway. You hear some people say, oh, don't go on the interstate or don't do 80 miles an hour or whatever. Your car will only ever get as cold as the actual air temperature. It'll just be harder to get it to warm up to a happy kind of operating temperature. So hopefully that gets everybody what they need to know. Take it easy on a cold engine, you know, try and block off some of that air to your radiator, keep an eye on your temperature gauge and try and keep it in a good place if you're driving around out there. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. If you like anything kind of car related, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and we'll catch you next time.